All right, what's going on, guys? It is August 9th, and it is Wednesday, so midweek reversal, consolidative zones, maybe breakouts. I have no idea. I haven't even been looking at the charts all week. I've been in a mood, so we're going to look at this from fresh pair of eyes, completely unbiased of what just happened over the past few days, and we're going to see what we're looking for structurally. At least I am, because like I was saying right before I got started, I don't really like sideways movement as much. I like a continued downwards or upwards moment or structure. So, and I'll show you a few examples as we go through here of what we're looking at. I mean, this is on gold right now, and obviously I'm looking more so towards sells just for this at this moment. I mean, it needs to go down, retest. It's got a specific channel that's stuck in, like you can see it. Like it's simple stuff, right? Basic shit that we all know. And it's a matter of what do we want to do once it gets to these zones and identifying how it happens. So let's see. I'm just gonna try to run through these first, and then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do something different. So before I would just go down each one and then be like, okay, this is what I see it doing. But now I'm gonna stick to what I think, what I like about it, structurally, and why I would continue in a certain direction. And if I don't, I'm just gonna skip it. And if obviously, if you guys that are on here right now want me to go over a certain pair as well, we can do that as well. So looking at USCAD just off the bat on the 1 hour, and then now going to the 4 hour, it's clearly got upwards momentum to it. It broke this big structure here. It was more so a change of character, because if we zoom out a little bit more, that is a change of character, because we were in a downtrend, had a lower low, lower high, and now that lower high is broken. That's a change of character. Structurally, if we are looking for the next move to happen, it would be for like a pullback and then a move up, right? So that's the first thing that happens in my mind. So I'll go take a look at it on trading view and see if it matches what it is that I'm looking for. So 4 hour, we have the EMA set. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'd be looking for. I mean, long term, you could technically buy this now, and if you have a big stop loss, it would make a difference. But I think we have a little bit more of a push down, because we got all these EMAs coming up. It just broke this structure. Once it does that, it needs to come back and retest. So if I can actually draw this a little bit clearer, I'll draw an H here. Oops. It's supposed to be the H. God damn it. Sorry, guys. Hold on. There we go. So I think that's one point that it could test. And I also have the support resistance. Yeah, so support resistance zones for the 4 hour. I would need to see it push down just a little bit farther before I decide to look for buys. But overall, I wouldn't be taking any sells on USDCAD right now. Only looking for buys, right? So let's see it shoot down a little bit more. I mean, look at that fat wick here on the daily. So it definitely needs to breathe and come back down. We'll look for those re-entries. This might not be a move that happens this week. I don't know if there's any news. Let me see. August 9th. That's it right now. All right, so we have USD news at 8:30. What's that?
Yeah, I was gonna say
Say that again?
the CPI for tomorrow, 8:30.
Yeah, 8:30. So that's probably going to move the USDCAD and all the other pairs. So ultimately, that's probably what I'll be looking for. If it ends up consolidating up until that news, it might push it down maybe during New York session or London, and the news could then push it back up. So I would just say look for the big stop hunts low. If you get a big stop hunt low, that's when you're going to be able to come in to look for a solid buy, and we can possibly take that back up to the recent high here. So that's what we're going to do and see how it moves. I mean, we have a trend line here too. Look at that. It's maintained the trend line. So we got a couple options. With that being in the play now, come down, bounce off the 50 and the 800, retest, drop for a perfect market maker trend. Because this has obviously been rising for more than 3 days. May not have been the perfect level structure, but we have that momentum. The EMAs are getting tight. Usually when the EMAs get tight, price starts to do something like this. Right. And now that we're on a bigger time frame, clearly that move is a little bit easier to identify, where we could see something like this happen or break, retest there. So either way, I want to honestly, I'm not going to touch this pair until I either see a drop down to hit this area and then a buy to retest it back at this trend line. Once it does something like that, I'm either going to see if it wants to reject off of here. And since this is the 4 hour, we'll have a couple days to actually enter, because if this is that big reversal point, guys, it's going to drop. Right. So our power play is going to be right here on this zone. Is it going to break it and continue, or is it going to bounce off of it and drop? Either way, we'll know. And then once we have that, we're going to rack out on this pair over the next week. So let me go to the next one. Euro AUD. This one's still bullish. I wouldn't do anything but buys. Honestly, though, it's not my favorite setup, so I'm probably not going to touch it. Nice. Thank you. I just got some watermelon. Split. Okay. Structurally, I don't want to touch this, mainly because it did just break a high. So the only thing I can think of, it would be to look for a reversal. But it's not my setup. If I'm going to touch this pair, it needs to break that level. Once it breaks that level, this is clear. Retouch on a 50 EMA, drop down to the low. You're good. Go to UJ. UJ is actually one of the pairs I see continuing. This is not, and I've seen this so many times. If you guys have been trading for a while, this is not a reversal pattern. It's not a reversal pattern. The only way this would be some sort of reversal pattern is if it stops on high real quick and then drops, kind of like here. Gradual moves, stop on high, drop. So let me take a look at this pair. Ooh, it's rejected that zone. 1, 2. So this should be interesting. It's at a place right now that I have drawn up from a couple weeks ago. If it hits this zone where it's at right now and decides to react in a way that brings it back down, we'll see this be a significant cross point, because we have multiple trend lines on bigger time frames. If we look at the daily, right? So this is all based off the daily right now, and it's respected this trend line multiple times. It's respected this trend line twice, and now the fact that it's hitting it 2 times or both of them at the same time and reacting, we're either going to see a big move to the upside, other in which we'll see a retest down here, again, both on these zones, and then a push back up to the test this high and higher. If not, we're going to see it react. And since this is the daily, the news tomorrow will probably set us up for the next direction, where it could drop and we catch it all the way back down to this trend line. So I'm not going to touch this pair yet. I'm going to wait, because what happens tomorrow morning is going to be the judge of how I decide to trade this moving forward, either the next day or the day after that. And then it just becomes simple after that. I mean, literally, oh, it broke the high. Cool. Look for a retest, buy it. Oh, it didn't break. It's dropping. Cool. Look for the drop, break a structure down to the low, retest, drop. You know, like, that's it. Simple stuff. Being patient and picky with how it sets up. Otherwise, I could get emotional right now and try to fucking sell it hoping that's going to drop because it's hitting all this resistance. But what if I'm wrong? What if it breaks through? Just let it show you what it wants to do, because the days that follow it are going to literally be a piece of cake. CAD JPY. I don't like it. It's in the middle. If I had to say, it's more bullish, but I don't really feel like drawing this one up. It's in the middle of a high and a low, and it could go up to this point, drop and consolidate. So I'm not going to touch it. Chief JPY. This one looks. Chief JPY has been rising forever. It's just been retesting the highs of these zones for the last like week, 2 weeks. Like, I remember when I thought this, what is this, May, June? I thought these were the highs. I was like, oh yeah, it's going to finally break down. Nope. Oh yeah, it's finally going to do it here. Nope. So this pair, I would just say stick to buys, man. Like, don't do anything else. You try to sell it, your dreams are going to get crushed. Wait for it to break a solid line. I mean, seriously, the only time you should be selling it short term is if it breaks here. Long term, if it breaks here, and I mean, if it breaks here, like you're gonna be golden. But that's not happening yet. So don't touch this pair for anything of a sell. Just look for buys. And since there's a peak formation low, this is setting up the way that I usually look for it. It consolidates like this, and then it takes off. So that's what you guys should be looking for. I don't even think I need to go over it. I pretty much did. But it's not something that I'm going to be paying attention to just because it's not my setup. Euro USD. So we got some upwards movement. I'm going to take a look at this one. ChoCh. Okay. This isn't needed anymore. See that it played out right for a minute, but now it's consolidating. Oh, it's rejecting the 500 moving average. Check that shit out. So this could be getting set up for some sort of reversal here to bounce off that 500, or it's going to consolidate for a level and then drop down to this 800. I don't think it's actually done that yet. I mean, it broke this channel though, so that's a good thing. It came through, it broke it, retested this part right here, still retesting it. So I would say we're still more bearish short term. All of it kind of paints the picture for that. Trying to see if there's anything else. And we do have some trend lines here. But this is the weekly. So if it does anything, it's going to at least drop down to this part and maintain, which I don't even need this anymore. Or this. These ones are more significant, and this one is not pretty. So I'm not even going to use it. It's in an interesting position. It's choppy right now based off the 4-hour and the daily. But it is respecting these lines. And what is this for? Peak formation high. It could. My mind is saying it's not clear enough, but we're going to find out. EMAs are tight. So could go down here like this, but then come back up to there. And you know what I mean? Like, could be too confusing. But overall, at the moment, it's bearish. short term. So if we see anything for a buy, it needs to take out this high. You're not buying it until it breaks these equal highs. So it needs to break here, retest, break here, and then you can look for the buys. So hold off on this pair. GU. All we need is one solid pair. GU's the same shit. GU and EU are almost identical right now. So, and that's probably the dog. I'm most likely we're going to see USDCAD, USDJP, all the USD pairs are going to really show us what they want to do after tomorrow. We'll get the solid confirmation. GCAD. Recent break to the upside. Could be a lower high though, based on this high. Oh, it's ranging. But it's ranging upwards. We got a trend line here. Oh, it just deletes my line. That's cool. Doesn't keep it on the 4 hour. Whatevs. Yeah, I'm gonna say that we're more bullish just because the overall direction for this pair is bullish. So if we could be looking for sells if it wants to break down back towards this trend line, which most likely it will. So if that is the case, then 1 hour looks good for sells. Since we did get a break, it has a peak formation low, but everything is due for its return back to where it started. So this is GBPCAD. Yeah, it's in this trend line. This channel there. It's in the middle. I would wait for it to come back down either to the low, then we look for buys, or at least break up to that point. In between, it's kind of iffy, but I can say that if it does break this high back up again, we could be buying it to this trend line. So I'm going to wait. I do see some hidden divergence here. Let's see. I need my fibs. So we got the fib retracement. So ultimately, it does look good for it to retrace down to this zone. But again, EMAs are tight. This might not work completely. We might have to hold off. Let's go to G Chief. This is just a big nope. This is not what I like. This is what I'm talking about. This is a no. When you see this, don't even try to force it. You will not sleep. All right. And same thing with this pair. Look at this fuckery. Too much sideways movement. Get picky. Get picky. All right. We have some more sideways, but more so like at least directional. Like you can see, like it's clear. It moves in structures. Let's see if there's anything on the 4 hour. No, not touching it. Let's see. This one looks promising because it's got all this downward momentum going. And this recent structure break on here from this point down, this is a new lower low, right? So on a daily, let's see. This could be a solid return to the trend line here. Look at that. Look how clean that is. So I want to see this thing push up. So I'm going to go over this pair. EUROCHF. I have that. Look at that. It's just lined up for me today. All right, let's zoom out. Go to the daily. Yeah, this thing's been good for a minute. Ten minutes. Garbage. All right. So we have a clear area of reaction here from the daily. I do like the breaks from the low here. Then this is looking promising to be a inverted head and shoulders. We do have regular divergence. Go to the 4 hour, probably will be a little bit easier. Yeah. So you have left shoulder, head, and the right shoulder tends to go in line with here. So the consolidation here shot back down. We look for buys. It's going to go up and hit that 200 moving average. So that's the first place we're looking for. Once it breaks that, though, which means if it breaks this 200 moving average, it'll break this high, giving us the structure we need to confirm the direction upwards, right? And then we look for re-entries on the pullback, and this is for sure where it's going to go. So keep EUROCHF on your radar, because once it does break this high, guys, it's going. It is going to go up to, and look at where the trend line lines up. It lines it directly up with the 800 moving average. Just an added confirmation that when this breaks, your ass is buying. That's it. You are taking nothing else but buys. So I'm going to put that down on my phone as, so I can like keep it down. Trade summary. Keep eye on EUROCHF. Okay. For buys. Let's go to, let's see. I mean, I did what? A solid like 5% on this pair last week on one of those, what I thought was a funded account from this trade locker bullshit, but nope, too many people, so they fucked me on that. But it is what it is. I had us for a buy last week over here, and it finally broke that structure that it needed to break. And it's this pair is only going to continue. So I would say only keep looking for buys on GN. That's really all I'd say. There's really no setups at the moment, though. It did make a new high. With that comes a new low, so expect a push down, maybe tonight, because it is Wednesday going into Thursday. So this could be the midweek reversal that had started setting itself up for this is Wednesday here, so Tuesday. So Tuesday, multi-session M, drop, pullback, enter on here. So, that would be your ideal situation. So let's see how that plays out. But overall, I'm more bullish on this. Now we're just hitting on look at this. We're in 7-day peak formation high. I never go over these ones, but hey, sometimes they're not all right. And anybody using the dashboard is going to notice that. All right. This is clearly just going down. Oh, yeah, it's because this pair's got to go retest this low right down here. AUD is still sells. There's no other thing to look for except sells. So now it could do some pullbacks. Let's see. Yeah, So we got this trend line. If it does decide to do a pullback, it's gonna go up, break, and then go up to here, maybe a little bit higher. We'll see. But it needs to break this to be a buy. Break, consolidation, pullback, buy. But it hasn't yet. So this is still considered a downtrend. So the fact that it is low right now, I mean, I'll consider maybe looking for a sell once it shoots up to this 50. And then I'll see where we're at. Because if that goes up and hits the 50, we could have some hidden divergence here. And if anybody's watched my video going over what I look for, it would be this is the peak down to the low. If it hits that 50, it could reach up a little bit higher, hit that 61.8 level and then drop. And as long as it hits that 61.8 level and it breaks this peak right here, goes above it, then this could be a solid selling opportunity to go right back down to the low. So guess we'll find out. Maybe it could be like when it goes over here, hits the 61.8, hits the trend line, then drops. And that's still the setup that we want to take. I got 4 minutes left. Any pair you want me to go over before I end this? I mean, I'm just going through the pairs now. I mean, the only pair, EUROCHF is like my favorite one, but it's not set up yet. But if there's a pair you want me to go over, I can do it.
One more time on EA, because I'm looking bullish on that.
Bullish. Okay. Let's take a look. So Euro, AUD. I got 3 minutes to look at this pair. Broke structure up here. It is bullish. Look at the daily. Broke there. Well, it didn't really break it, wicked it. Being unbiased here. So let's see. Just getting a little feel for. We got this low. All right. So right now it's at a structure point that I'm not liking personally because it could do a couple things. It's either gonna keep bouncing off of here for a sec, then drop, or it's gonna consolidate on here till it bounces off the EMA a couple times and then it's gonna take off. So, and based on what I'm seeing from the higher time frames, it's definitely more bullish than it is bearish, but with bullishness there comes the breathers. So I don't see any solid divergence, which is an indication for a continuation. I don't see any regular divergence with shark fin. See something over here, but that's not really valid. Now it is overbought from all the way over here, but that's not a solid structure in its place. Let me add something real quick. I got a minute, 30 seconds, and then we're gonna want to end it before it ends me. Yeah, that's not even a solid head structure. So yeah, all this does indicate to me that this wants to be bullish. So you probably have a solid bet of it dropping tonight, retesting this low, bouncing off that EMA. And once it does that, we can look for the buy potentials right back up to the top. So that's what my gut is. And since I don't see any indication of this being a solid reversal, like no divergence, no shark fins, nothing. The only thing I see is it hitting a resistance point and the EMAs are wide. That's it. But I have seen it get like this and it just consolidate like that. So you probably have a better chance of just sticking with the direction of the trend. Don't predict the reversal. If it breaks here, that's different. If it breaks here, that's different. But if it doesn't and it maintains it and gives you that pattern, look for those buys.
Right.
All right. Well, this is about to end. So I'll be in the chat. I'll be in the Discord. I'll be in the market makers Telegram. So let's see how these pairs end up playing and see if we can catch some pips.
Right. Sounds good.
All right, brother. I'll see you soon.
Yes.
Later.
Later.